Hey guys, what's up? My name is Shyam, and in this video I'm going to talk about the JavaScript classes, which was introduced in 2015 with the release of ES6. Today, classes are a fundamental part of JavaScript. In this video, I will provide an overview of how classes work in JavaScript, how to declare classes, what features JavaScript provides with classes, and how inheritance works. Alright guys, let's get into it. Alright guys, so we can define classes in two different ways. One is class expression, another is class declaration. Class declaration starts with the class keyword, and class expression is more of assigning a class to a variable. In this example, this class is anonymous class. You can also provide a name to it. And one thing that we have to keep in mind that the classes are not hoisted like the way JavaScript functions are hoisted. JavaScript function declarations are hoisted. Class declaration or class expression are not hoisted. Alright guys, let's take a look at the getters and setters in the classes. So in JavaScript, classes allow using getters and setters, and it is a very smart way to use getters and setters for the properties, especially if you want to do something special with the value before returning them or before you set them. And to add getters and setters in the class, you use get and set keywords. Alright guys, so let's take a look at the example of getters and setters. So here there is a class car, and that contains two properties, underscore name and name. For name, we have getters and setters. So as soon as I create an instance of this car, it will set this particular value to this underscore name through this constructor, right? So if we try to access the value, this property name, it will go through the getter and it will print Mercedes in all caps, right? Because here when I try to access this particular value, it will returning value with uppercase. However, if we try to access the original value, we can also do that using this property underscore name. Okay, so that will return you the actual value whatever we have set. Let's take a look at the example when we set the value through the setter. So we have this setter, and that is setting a value by making certain modification over here, right? Let's take a look at it. Yeah, so here we have set the value, and when we try to console it, it will give you whatever the value we have, whatever the extra character we have added, and then the same thing, like it will provide the value with uppercase, and the normal value is whatever value we have actually set over here, the Honda and these two characters. So this is how getters and setters will work. They will allow you to modify a value while accessing it or while setting it. Alright guys, so let's take a look at the example of how do we write methods in classes. So here in this example, we can see that when we write method, we always use shorthand methods. Shorthand methods are the method where we don't use the function keyword itself, right? Even in the getters and setters, when we learn about it, we just completely avoid the function keyword, right? So we have to keep in mind that whenever we are writing methods in a class, we always use shorthand methods. Alright guys, so talking about methods, we can also create static methods when we are dealing with classes. And static methods are those methods which are not called on any instance of the class. Instead, they are called on the class itself. So this is how we write it. We use the static keyword over here, and when we call it or when we invoke this particular method, we don't have to create any instance. We just use this class name and the method name. Alright guys, so let's take a look at the example of static method over here. So in this example, there are two properties, x and y, and then there is a static method distance, right? And here I have created two instances of this point class, and when we try to use this method with the help of this particular class name itself, then we can see that we are able to get the particular value. However, if we just try to access this method through the instance like p1 dot distance, we will get undefined. Alright guys, so in class, whenever we create properties, that should go inside the constructor only. We cannot write any properties outside of the constructor as of now. And also, if we create a static property, then we have to write outside of the class. Like here we have created a rectangle class that contains two properties, height and width, and then there is an static property that we have written outside of this particular class. Rectangle dot static width, this is the static property that we can give value over here outside of the class. However, there is an effort going on to provide the public and private fields also. Like in the last slide we have seen that we can create properties inside the constructor only, but with the help of this particular feature we would be able to create the property outside of the constructor as well. So these are the experimental feature which are in stage 3 right now, and that's why the browser support is very limited. Mostly Chrome browser, you can see that it will work. Here we can see that if we are using public, then we can just write outside of the constructor without any this or something like that, and then we can initialize the value as well. For the private, we can also write the same way, but here we have to use the hashtag that will make a particular property private. Okay. Alright guys, so let's take a look at the example of this private property. Here this rectangle class have this height and width as a private property, and when I'm creating an instance over here with two values 10 and 20, and let's take a look how it will look like. Okay, and when we do this one, we will see that we can see these two private properties, right, 10 and 20 with this particular hash as well. But when we try to access this value, let's say I will do this dot HEIDST height, then it will give you undefined, right? Even if you try to access this one, if you think that you should access this way, then it will say that this is a private field and it must be declared inside a class. So this height and width are now private and we cannot access outside. However, we can see within this R object, we can see the values, but when we try to access it, they are not available. Alright guys, let's go into the next topic, extend. So here if we have a class and there is a child class that wanted to extend the parent one, then we can use this extend keyword simply like this. And we have to make sure that when we extend it, when we write a constructor, we have to use this super keyword as the very first statement. Okay, and then we can override a method like this. So here we had a method, then we wrote another method for this particular dog class. Alright guys, so let's take a look at the example here. So here I have created two classes, one is animal and other is dog, and the dog extends animal. So the animal is the parent class for this dog class. Okay, and dog has access to all the properties and all the methods of its parent, which is animal. So dog can access this name and also access this speak. Okay, but if we have overwritten any method over here or any property, then it will be used from this particular class itself. So here I have created two instances, one for animal and another for dog, and when I do dog.speak, okay, it will print Rocky makes a noise. So it will take this value. Okay, it will set from here to the super constructor, which is the animal constructor. So this particular name is set with this Rocky value, and when I try to execute this speak method, it will go over here and will print Rocky makes a noise. Okay, and if we wanted to print a.speak, which is the method of directly from animal, then also it will pick this squirrel and print this value. Now if we don't want this, if you want this method speak, but if you want different kind of implementation, we can also do that. So we can override this method here in the dog, and if we do now, it will print Rocky barks, right? So here now this dog class has this method. So when it will look for the speak, it will go and first search within the class and it finds the speak. Okay, and then it will print over here. For animal, it is again the same one. Now the another thing is, if we wanted to use this particular method as well, or the result of this particular method from the parent itself, we can also do this with the help of super keyword. So we can use super dot speak. Okay, so if we see, let me remove this animal one. So I have the instance of dog only, and I'm calling speak. Okay, so here it says Rocky makes a noise because it goes over here, okay, with the value Rocky, and it prints this one because we are doing super.speak. So it will first print this one, and then the second statement is from this particular method itself, so it will print Rocky barks. So we can also use the parents method using super keyword. Alright guys, so in the last example we have seen that we had a dog class and an animal class where animal was a parent. So dog can extend only one class, so dog has inheritance from only single class. But if you wanted to achieve multiple inheritance where a single class is extending from multiple classes, in that situation we used to use mixins. So here in this example we can see that we are using bar extends this particular class, okay, and then there is another class which we have written over here. So here what we are doing is we are passing foo class to the randomizer mixin, okay, and we can see that when we do this particular foo goes over here, and it effectively means that we are doing a randomizer mixin extends foo. Okay, then we are passing this randomizer mixin to calculator mixin. It means we are doing calculator mixin extends randomizer mixin. Okay, and then finally we are doing bar extends this calculator mixin. So we have extended actually calculator mixin, randomizer mixin, and then foo, all three for this bar. So bar has the inheritance from all these three classes. So with the help of mixins we can actually do multiple inheritance, but as such there is no direct multiple inheritance in the JavaScript. Alright guys, so that's all about the classes, and the classes are being used by most of the major libraries and frameworks like React and Angular. So having better understanding of classes, you will get more confidence while working with these frameworks. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.